Well, hello, my beautiful Pisces. Welcome to my channel. This is Baba Jolie here with your career and money reading for mid-May right through to mid-June 2025. I've already cleansed your space and have meditated on your cards. For those of you who are returning, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for all your wonderful likes, shares, and subscribes. I am truly grateful for all your beautiful energy. Just a little reminder though, this is a general reading, not a one-to-one reading, just so you're aware. Also, please be mindful, scammers are about, pretending to be me and lots of other tarot readers. I do not do personal readings, and I will never reach out to you personally to offer one. Also, I will never ask you for money, e-gifts, or donations. So if anyone masquerading as me asks for anything at all, please report them or ignore them. It is a scam, okay? Let's move straight on with your reading. Now, I've sourced a softer frequency to prepare and cleanse your reading. I'm using Gaia chimes to cleanse your reading hourly, so please be mindful to turn down your volume if you are someone who is sensitive to sound, okay? So let us begin. Okay, my beautiful Pisceans, this is your career and money reading. I'm going to get all of your cards first before I connect to an outcome. So let us begin. Thank you so much, Spirit Guides, Guardian Angels. Can you please guide my beautiful Pisceans? What do they need to know regarding their career sector at this time? Can you please show them the way? What is going on with them on their path and their finances? Please highlight what they need to be aware of at this time. Well, we have the Mountain as your first card there, so things have been a little bit challenging. I definitely see here that you may have been met with resistance on some steps forward in your current circumstances. A lot of you are actually a tower of power, and you may be carving out some sort of pathway, and although it's been challenging, it is starting to make shape, is what I'm seeing there. For some of you, it can be that, you know, when you do something repetitive, it's hard to keep your motivation alive, to keep things interesting and really approach things in a different way, just to keep it fresh so that you keep locked on. You know, one of the main ingredients of success, of course, is endurance. So it can be that, you know, you are reigniting your passions, or maybe even replenishing your spirits for your career at this moment in time. And I feel there is progress on your horizon. I definitely see that you're on the right path, but a lot of you, I get this energy here of your industry or your working environment. It's been challenging. It's been a lot. And I feel a lot of you could have felt that you've been in the same place, or a little bit stagnant. You may have felt sometimes it's 2 steps forward, 4 steps back on something. But I do see a blockage sort of being removed from you and you moving forward. So we have the Tower. As I mentioned, a tower of power there. Now, the Tower is not always a negative card, so I want you to be aware of that. We'll tap into that in a moment. But it's come out with the King of Wands. I feel this is symbolic of you, you know, reigniting that spark. A lot of you have felt either unmotivated, or you may feel that you're unsupported at this time. You are at capacity, and it feels like you're on a bit of a treadmill. Got to be honest with you, the Tower energy can indicate that you feel like you're going round and round in circles. There's been some changes, maybe in rules, regulations, policies. You may be learning new skills, for example, in order to get out of a routine so that you can smash through a glass ceiling, as it were. If you think about the nature of the Tower, it can be that you are raising your vibrations and your frequencies, and you're looking at your career sector and looking at all the things that you feel are not working for you, or perhaps you're you know, looking at anything that's not authentic and true in your life or your career right now, and you're making some decisions to break free out of a sort of repetitive cycle, but that repetitive cycle actually means that you are a pro at what you do. But, you know, it doesn't mean that you have to get stuck in a rut for some of you. And I definitely see here that you're smashing through some sort of glass ceiling, as I mentioned. So it could be that you're entering into a new pay grade for some of you, but we'll get into that now in a moment, because the Hierophant is there, which definitely means new knowledge will set you free and help you advance in some way. I'm actually being given the word succeed. I really wish you could see what I can see in the water, okay? But I'm seeing the word succeed. So whatever it is that you're working towards, I definitely see success here. We have the Ten of Cups. So that is ultimate fulfillment. That is you feeling peaceful in your working environment, things working out effortlessly for you, and of course, a lot of abundance headed towards you, as well as support and a love for what you do. So for some of you, not all of you, but I am going to tap into this energy before we move forward. For some of you, you may actually have considered working for the family business, or if you work for a family business already, it can be that you are upskilling in some way just to help the business move forward. And there may be someone in the family unit who maybe is, you know, unsure about the next steps, or they're not ready to take a leap, or they're not ready to change some aspects of the industry or the job that you do day to day. It's almost like you're looking for a total revamp in some way, and it could be met with some sort of opposition. But I actually feel that you are headed in the right direction. You're going to take the lead on this, and they're going to come around and see that actually it was a really great move forward. So that's if you work for a family business. I definitely see some revamping energy there. And for some of you who have come to this reading, especially with that Tower energy, if you've come to this reading and you've been made redundant, or you had a shock in the working environment, some of you may have had a shock exit, or perhaps you decided to leave because it was a very toxic environment, or maybe your contract came to an end in some way. But if you are looking for a new role there, we have the Seven of Wands, okay? So this can indicate that you've thought about being independent in your working environment, and you may actually have some ideas to take yourself forward and eventually become your own boss. But what I do see here with this Eight of Swords energy and the King of Wands there, that you're going to break free from a cycle, or you were meant to break free from a cycle in order to advance to a different role that brings more power, or I'm also being given more status there. So, you know, King of Wands is a pretty high-ranking individual, so I would definitely say, because it's in the resistance position at first, which means you're liberating yourself out of a stuck situation, I feel there could be a new role that comes along. I actually see the arrival of one, actually, an opportunity coming along. For some of you, it requires you to travel a little bit further afield, and for a small percentage of you, this could also be overseas. If you've been searching, some of you may be thinking about being more nomadic in your industry, or you want to relocate to a different state or country, for some of you. And I definitely see a wonderful partnership, an alliance in a role that comes on in. And with that King of Wands, it definitely feels like it is a powerful role where you take the lead, and you could be in control of like a sector or a group of people, like managerial. For some of you, this is like a bold leader card. So a lot of you may actually advance because you left a past position, and it could have been that nudge that you felt like you needed. But I definitely see a new role coming on in that has a lot of status, and I feel you're going to have the courage to step into this leadership role and really like move forward, because you have the Ship here. So this is going to help you move forward there. There's movement if you are looking for a new role. And I feel it's quite exciting, because if you note the Ship, it's setting sail towards the sun, and of course the Ten of Cups is the sun. So I would say that you get like a dream job opportunity, and of course you'll be able to negotiate the right paycheck for yourself there as well, okay? And if you're a freelancer, for some of you, there is someone from your past that perhaps you used to work with. They may have moved companies and they remember your work, and you could hear from someone from your past that offers you either a contract, whether it's temporary or seasonal. So I definitely see some sporadic work coming in there as well. If you are, you know, a freelancer and you're looking for an opportunity, there's definitely one coming on in. Some of you may actually travel abroad for this as well, especially if you're creative, is what I'm being given there. So it could be that you are going on a tour, or it could be that you are, you know, joining something that's already in motion, and it could be that you're a welcome addition to that team, is what I see there. I see people in very high places or high ranking positions noticing what you do and wanting to partner up with you in some way. So with a lot of love and respect, I'm going to move away from that energy and connect to the majority energy here. We have the Tower. Now, interestingly enough, the Tower in the Lenormand deck is the equivalent of the Mountain. Okay, so I want you to be aware of that. The Tower is there and you have the Mountain. So this can indicate that you are someone who actually stands out in your industry. Whether you realize this or not, you get a lot of attention because you put your whole heart and soul into what you do, because you care, okay? And the Mountain can indicate that you've been experiencing some obstacles. You know, if you have a look at this mountain there, there's a figure that has been chipped out of that mountain. And I feel like you're trying to carve a niche or trying to make a name for yourself in your industry or your sector, whether you work for a company, whether you work for your own company, whether you are your own boss or an entrepreneur. I definitely see here that you're making a name for yourself. And I also see divine intervention coming in to help you move forward on something that you're passionate about. You know, the Mountain, it can indicate that things have been challenging. It says difficult, blockages, stalled, opposition, struggles, resistance, delays, and obstacles. So you may be wondering, is there going to be any movement or improvement in your industry if you feel like there's been a bit of a lull, or you know, of course, economically, the world has been very challenged over the last couple of years. So it can be that you're noticing how things have been a bit of a struggle. You may have noticed redundancies or closures in certain areas of your industry, and you may be feeling a little bit nervous there because the Tower, you know, can be some sudden changes, right? And shocks in your industry, for example. So you could hear of like a leading competitor. If you work for a certain company, for example, you could hear of a leading competitor suddenly go into liquidation, for example. And it may like put some sort of ripple effect shock through your industry and think, wow, that ship, it seemed like it was unsinkable. But you've got the Seven of Wands there, which means you're protected. And also this Mountain has an angelic figure there. Again, I would say that you're protected and redirected at this time. Okay, Seven of Wands, please look up the meaning of the card there, but this means to be protected, and it also means to defend yourself. So it could be that if you work in a certain industry or company and you deal with either the public or you deal with a client or someone in your working environment that tends to be quite challenging, it could mean that you have to defend yourself on something or explain yourself on something, and it could come as a bit of a shock because this person, it feels like they are covering for the fact that they are inadequate or they are not as efficient as you. So it could be that they challenge you on something to hide something that perhaps they've been doing behind the scenes. So just watch out for that, okay? Now, the Tower, I actually like the Tower because as a protagonist energy, you know, that means you are fully employing the energy of a tower, which is to affect change. So a lot of you could be revamping your schedule or your day-to-day working tasks and responsibilities. This is a card of transformation, and it could be sudden. So some of you, my beautiful Pisceans, if you've been thinking a long time to give in your notice, for example, you could actually get a new opportunity come through, and you're like suddenly giving in your notice where you're at, your resignation there. So it could shock a lot of people, for example, especially if you've been in a role for a very long time. It's almost like you're part of the furniture for some of you. For some of you, you could make like a shock move in your industry, especially if you have your own business. It could be that you're doing something bold and daring and something that perhaps other people wouldn't do, but it makes you stand out from the crowd, because that's what the Tower does and that's what the Mountain does. It means that you're carving out some sort of niche, being a trailblazer in some way and doing something radically different and new to break out of the humdrum. You know, you can look across industries all over the world and, you know, they're replicated. So, you know, everyone has ideas and they somehow interchange or they are copied, for example. But I feel a lot of you are trying to brainstorm something new that really sets you apart from other people. Or some of you may even do something, above and beyond, shall we say, that sets you apart from other people so that you can step into some sort of managerial role or promotion for some of you. But the Tower, you know, especially if you have the King of Wands in the resistance position, a lot of you are exhausted. It's been hard. It's been a struggle. A lot of you seriously need a massage, okay? Especially with the cards in the position that they're in. And it feels like there's been a lot of heavy energy, so much work to do, a lot on your to-do list. And some of you may feel like you're on a bit of a treadmill, you know, that treadmill of life. And you're like, oh, you know, so you could be like resigning yourself to the fact that perhaps you'll be doing this until retirement, but I feel a lot of you are trying to break out, maybe even be independent, because the Seven of Wands there is to protect your independence or be independent in some way. And, you know, a lot of you are going the distance in your career, and you're going to be an ultimate success is what I see there, okay? You're not compromising what's important to you, and that's really what sets you apart. And you have, you know, an energy of endurance where, you know, you are that go-getting spirit and you're unstoppable in your energy. Now, the Tower, for some of you, there could be like a shock in your industry. I got to be honest with you, because the Tower can be a surprise. It doesn't have to be a negative surprise. It can actually be a really wonderful surprise, something that you worked really hard to accomplish. That's a very difficult task right there. And, you know, this mountain is holding like, I would say like a little pool of fire there in their hands. So this could be your passion, but I feel your passion grows for something. You know, I feel like you're really reigniting that spark for your career, because of course it's in the resistance position at first, that King of Wands, but then it goes into the upright. So I feel like you're leading with passion. You've got new ideas, you're inspired, and this Tower could be like a sudden download. For some of you, it could be a shock move where someone leaves position in the company that you work for, and suddenly it opens up doors of opportunity for other people, and there's a bit of a reshuffle. You know, the Tower can also indicate a bit of a shakeup in your industry as well. New rules, regulations, policies, could be a new way of doing things. But because this is your protagonist energy, I feel like you are kind of like having a bit of a moment where you want to suddenly change your mind in some area. Now, of course, these two cards can indicate as well that things have been challenging, and just when you finish one thing, there's something else on your to-do list. It feels that things have been pressurized, and I would say as well that if you don't take good quality rest, that you could like come down with a seasonal cold, or you could actually burn yourself out, exhaustion. So just be a little bit mindful of that. I know life is so challenging, and we have a lot of responsibilities and so many things to do on so many different levels, like pay bills, do the job, got family responsibilities, you know, you want to have fun, you want to do all these other things, be creative. So a lot of you could have a lot on your to-do list. So this could literally be like a restructure. And I feel some of you could actually come out of a comfort zone to be launching either a new skill, or suddenly you may decide to take a course of learning. Some of you may actually leave a position in order to do an apprenticeship, or, learn something that you love, hone a skill that you have naturally there, a talent. And I feel it kind of sets you free. Some of you may even think about a sabbatical if you're lucky enough to do that. Maybe a portion of time off that you're taking in order to really focus on a creative endeavor. You know, that Seven of Wands can be an independent worker. So if you're not your own boss right now, a lot of you could have a passion project that you're launching at this moment in time, or you're protecting a vision, keeping it to yourself, working really hard on it, and then you're ready to launch it, and suddenly you are a boss. Suddenly you're running your own company, and suddenly the money is coming on in there, okay? Now, the Seven of Wands can be how you manage stress and pressure, okay? Because Seven of Wands, it can indicate, yes, feeling stress, but you're not giving up on something. You're fighting for what you believe in, and you are going to be successful, and you're going to keep going. You are unstoppable. But these two cards, if you look up the meaning of them, it can indicate that you've been under a lot of pressure in order to make something that is difficult in your industry work. But I do see that things are taking shape, and you're creating stability for you and your family. And actually, these energies, the Tower in this position, you know, if you're going to get a Tower in your reading, you want it kind of in the resistance position or in the protagonist energy, because it basically means that you are restructuring the way that you work. For some of you, this could be also like a minor blip, like you have to relocate. Maybe you're going through like an office relocation, or maybe there's a refurb going on. There could be minor distractions. You know, this can be like loud noise or disruption for some of you, and you may have to protect your inner peace in some way if you are needing to work without distraction. For some of you, if you're like working for yourself, it could be that you're deciding to relocate your premises or where you kind of work, or maybe you're downsizing some of the tools, and it could be a chaotic time for you to get everything completed, but at the same time you're doing something else on the side to keep your business running smoothly, because this is to protect what you're doing right now and be inspired and, you know, gain in confidence and move forward with your opinions, your visions, and really take things to the next level in your career. Now we do have the rider there. It's in the resistance position at first. So a lot of you, especially if you're taking stock of where you feel like you're at in your career sector right now, you know, some of you may feel, because you're in the midst of making things happen and shaping things, sometimes you feel like there is no progress, okay? That's because you're so involved in it. And that's why that Eight of Swords can be to free yourself up and get a new perspective, maybe take a step back in order to see how far you've come, because you have come a long way. And I feel a lot of you could be strategizing, you know, a new plan or an extension of a plan, because I feel it's an extension here. It's like you're building something, whatever it is that's on your plan. I'm also being given the word regeneration. So this could be your energy is suddenly, you know, increasing in vitality there, and you're moving forward, very passionate, and you have a lot on your to-do list, and you're going to look back at how far you've come and be really proud of yourself there. But this can signal that in the next 6 weeks, there's going to be sudden movement and improvement, and you're setting yourself free from something that maybe you felt stuck in. So for example, if whatever it is that you do, it required like a chain of events or a process or other people to do, you know, one step of, you know, your industry, and then it came to you. So for example, if you worked in accounts, you know, someone has to send you the invoices so you can put them in the spreadsheets and work out how to correlate all the dynamics and the finances, for example. You require another person to give you the information that you need so you can do your part of the chain of command, as it were. For some of you, if you run your own business, it could be that you need supplies. So therefore, you go to your supplier and they are the chain of command. Some of you may have had delays or problems or obstacles, and things have not been moving forward. Well, I feel those obstacles are removed, because the rider indicates, you know, sudden progress and a shift in energy where you're going to be extra busy. But also, I feel if you work in a company for other people, there may be a new person who comes into the working environment. And I feel this person, with the Eight of Swords, I just feel that this person, they will not last long, okay? I just feel that this person will come in and be like, nope, and then they're out, okay? But I actually feel a lot of you are going to witness someone leaving if you work in a company, and it just opens up opportunity for other people. This person, I feel, may actually have been a bit of a bully, or, you know, micromanaging in some way. And I feel everybody's going to really kind of like be happy to see the back of this person, whoever this person is, not the temporary person, but the person who's been, you know, in the company for a while, someone who's quite established. I feel like they may leave, okay? And the Eight of Swords is like nobody saw this coming. So it could be the shock that's happening there. But we have here visitor, arrival, messages, news, quick movement, new information, and taking action. So a lot of you may suddenly decide to put yourself on a course of learning, because you do have the Hierophant there. So this can be to have a belief in yourself, but also to back it up with more education. So, you know, you could be suddenly offered an opportunity to train for some of you, or upskill in some way. Some of you may also be given more responsibility by being like a fire warden, because we have that King of Wands there, which is a fire element, and of course that mountain there, the figure is holding fire. So if you're a fire warden, it could increase your salary, could give you a little bit more money there, a little bit of a raise, because of the responsibility that you're investing in to help others. And for some of you, if you have your own company, you could be looking into like fire and health and safety procedures at this time, just to make sure everything everything is in working order there. Now, we have the Eight of Swords. This is always like an eye test energy as well. So some of you may be offered an eye test over the next coming weeks, or you may be paying close attention to how much time you spend on a screen, whether that's on your cell phone or whether that's, at your desk, depending on whatever it is that you do. So you could be limiting that at this time. And a lot of you, it could be that you don't want to procrastinate. So you're locked onto your goals and you're moving forward. You're enthusiastic. I feel, there is this news coming in that makes you feel quite excited. And a lot of you, the Eight of Swords is like you don't see this coming, okay? This good news that's coming here. So this could be either a sudden promotion for some of you, or it could be that suddenly you're being really creative and you're going, you know what, I'm just going to launch my own brand, or I'm going to just launch my own clothing line, or I'm just going to do this painting and put it online, and, and suddenly someone says, I'd like to buy that. And you're like, oh my gosh, now I'm in business. So I feel your creativity is going to lead you to success. So whatever it is that you do, I feel like your passion pushes forward, pushes obstacles out of the way, and suddenly I feel like you're taking charge of your career and you're going to see a lot of advancement over the next coming weeks and months there. I mean, I have to say a lot of you are going to see restructures in kind of like managerial roles or people in positions of authority. So even if you work for yourself, you may see like a shuffle when it comes to the leading people in your industry, or there could be, as I said, rules, regulations, or policies that are changing suddenly, and you may need to either SWAT up on these things or learn more about it. You may have to investigate what it means for you and your business in some way so that you can move forward. Now, of course, we do have a ship there, so if you do any sort of like shipping, for example, for products or goods, it can be that there's some new rules around that, and it can be that it's a little bit challenging and you're like, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. But I feel things get moving forward, and when you learn more about it, it feels like somehow it benefits you. So that's what's coming through there as well. Also, some of you may be thinking about being more nomadic in your career. So if you're someone who can utilize the internet, because the Eight of Swords can be connected to the ether, okay, it can be that you can work in one place and then upload something online or to a social media platform, for example. It can indicate, especially since it's in the resistance position, this means that you're not lodged to one place. It can mean that you can go anywhere you want in the world. So some of you could be thinking about being more nomadic in your working environment, because what's stopping you? The ship can indicate you're literally setting sail to move abroad. For some of you, if you're wanting to migrate your whole business, it could be that you are looking at the structure of doing that legally. I would say, because the Hierophant is there, get some really great advice, because the Tower could represent a misstep or shock or something that you didn't expect or anticipate or you were not even aware of. But someone with the knowledge to help you will actually guide you through any pitfalls, and it will be plain sailing there as well. Now, for some of you, it could be that you just want to travel. So you could be getting into the travel industry, and a lot of you, the majority energy, it can be that you're taking on like extra workload right now in order to get everything done before you take a vacation, okay? And you're going to have an amazing time. That's what I see. But while you're away, I feel like you may learn more about your skill set or more about your industry, and really think of some ideas that help you move forward. Some of you could even be creating like second streams of income, because this book is showing me like two people there. So it could be two people, you and a person, discussing things like automated money, making money while you sleep, for example. And it could be something that suddenly you have an epiphany or an idea on, because the Tower can be like a sudden download of information because it opposes the Hierophant. So that can be that suddenly you have like a shock moment where you're like, oh my gosh, it makes so much sense. I can see clearly, because the Eight of Swords in this position is to see clearly. And it can be that suddenly you have the knowledge to set up second streams of income. You're already established at what you do and you have a lot of knowledge. So this King of Wands can be that you're taking leadership on something, maybe even something that you felt like you were not ready for, but you are ready. So you could be creating like a course of learning for people to download. Some of you could be writing a book, a manual of what it is that you do, so you can, impart your wisdom to other people, and you could actually make money from this there as well. Now, Because we do have the shock factor at the beginning, some of you could suddenly decide that, you are going to enter into retirement. So if you have decided a date, it may be a little bit earlier than you thought it would be. Okay, that was initially the energy, and you may be having a meeting or a discussion with your boss, for example, and they could persuade you to kind of like spread it out a little bit or to delay your retirement. I feel you may be able to negotiate a nice little financial package in order to do that if that's something you want to do. That's coming out there. And I feel that for some of you, there is this energy of you kind of like, is it semi-retirement? It's almost like you still keep your hand in doing something. So it could be that you're a consultant or you're somehow utilizing an online social media platform, or maybe writing an ebook, for example, something connected to the internet, because you have that Eight of Swords and the Tower is often a download energy. So it could be something that you're creating now and it's a lot of hard work, but once it's formulated and set up, it could be something that you put online where people just download that and it makes you money as passive income in the background there. Thanks so much, I'm truly grateful. Now, I do not like to give this message, but I have to give it. For some of you, if you have like, a property, if you're in real estate, for example, if you rent, if you're a landlord, for example, there could be some sort of, I would say, shock bill that comes through, and some of you may have to repair something. I'm just getting an energy of having to repair. Okay, you may have to look into this. For some of you, and again, I hate to give this message, I would just double check any of the and I really hope this does not resonate with anyone. I'm not here to make anyone paranoid, but I'm just getting this energy of someone kind of like leaving early, from like a tenancy, and maybe even leaving a bit of a mess. Okay, that's what I'm seeing. And it could be that you're going to have to clean this up. And I would say check out the reviews of a person before they rent, or if that's possible. I don't know anything about that, but I just feel for some of you, it's like someone has a quick exit there, and the Tower can be like a property, and you could have a shock there. It could be that they kind of have the potential to make a mess. So you have the Seven of Wands there, which means you can safeguard yourself against this. And this could be to either investigate, learn about a person. So if someone is booking your place out, if that's what happens, it could be that you want references or reviews or something, and it just will safeguard you, because the Seven of Wands means you're protected. Okay, you're safeguarded against this, but I feel you may come across a person who has the potential to do that, but you may stop it in their tracks. Okay, so that's coming out there as well. Really random messages coming through there. Ultimately, I feel a lot of you, you're locked onto your goals and you've been feeling a little bit low energy because you're exhausted, but you're going to be moving forward with like a greater speed there as well. Now we have the Ship. It's interesting because I feel a lot of you, it's you wanting to do something bold, daring, and different, but I do see that you're also maintaining and sustaining, and you're on course to reach new I want to say landscapes, but it's not like that. I feel it could be that you're learning the ropes on new things, new technology, or new ways of approaching your work that helps you stay ahead of the game and also stay afloat in an economic market that is challenging. So if you run your own business, for example, you may notice that, of course, there's competitors out there. Seven of Wands can be that people, they are competitive against you. You may be in a very competitive arena. And a lot of you, especially with the Tower there, it's lonely at the top. So the more successful you are, the more you may find that you don't have time for certain things, but also it can mean that people, they treat you differently when you're super successful, because it kind of reminds them of how they're doing. And if they're not doing as well as you, it can change a dynamic in friendships or even in co-workers or your peers as well there, okay? Now, a lot of you are making a stand, and it's like you're going the distance on something. I feel the Seven of Wands is really important because it means you're in a very good position to be successful at whatever it is that you do. And I feel a lot of you already have a measure of success behind you, but there's more to come. So this can mean that you're on the right path, that you're in harmony with your heart's desire, and there's going to be opportunities in your future that you're moving towards. You know, the sea is golden, and whenever you get that in tarot, you know, it is very, you know, positive omen there, auspicious. And it says travel, long distance, relocation, change, vacation, movement, and foreign. For some of you, you could be like setting up, you know, financial offshore accounts. For example, if you're doing really well, for some of you, it could be that you're trying to pool all your resources in order to buy property overseas. This could be a vacational home if you're lucky enough to be in that position, for example. But this is Jupiter, which means it expands on opportunity, on good luck, but also on finances. And if there's been challenge in your industry, this is a great card to get because it means you're being flexible. It means that, you know, you're defending your position and you're adjusting the sails so that you can still advance and make progress even in economic challenging times, okay? And I definitely see here, whether you work in a company or whether you work for yourself or you're an entrepreneur, whatever it is you do, whether you're a freelancer, whether you are, you know, running an online business, I definitely see here that you are keeping ahead of the competition and you really are an asset in your industry. And I feel you have a trajectory towards much more success to come, okay? Now we do have the Hierophant, which means new knowledge will help you advance. So a lot of you, if you're downloading courses online of how to do something, this could really benefit you. But some of you could be like squirreling yourself away to read a manual on how to do something. I mean, this could also be like generational wealth structures you're learning about, or tax breaks, for example, legal ones, of course. Everything here is legal. Looking at the energy, I want you to be aware of that. But the Ten of Cups can be like family or generational wealth. So some of you could be learning about that. Some of you may also be wondering if it's time to relocate overseas, migrate your business, or look at, you know, residency status overseas in some way in order to protect your wealth against things like inflation that nibbles away at money, or if you feel like you're not happy with the way, you know, structure is working in the industry or country that you're in right now. Because remember, the Hierophant can be like structures that have been in our every waking moment when it comes to industry. So this could be like a system, for example, the system. It can be like a conventional kind of system, or an establishment, or an established way of doing something, for example. And it can be that you're learning the rules in order to help them benefit you, for example. Okay, not everybody's going to be connecting to that, but it's something that's just come out there. So I definitely see you're going to find the information you require, but also you may connect to a person who has qualifications in order to help you advance in that area or set up structures. Always great to get advice from a legal practitioner because they'll help you avoid any pitfalls there as well. Now, the Hierophant can also be a contract, you know, a bond or an offer, an opportunity, an agreement there, something that you may sign, and you can be kind of like learning more about that. So if you're looking for a new opportunity, I mean, looking at the energy here, I feel a lot of you could be offered like a new promotion or, you know, a new role. That's something there. It's in the works, okay? And it can be an advancement that you didn't see coming. For some of you, it could just literally be a new title that will be attached to a small increase in finances there as well, okay? But if you are someone who works, you know, as a sole trader, it could be that you are very savvy with your finances and you're learning more how to make your money work for you at this time. And you may reinvest in your business, but also you may take some of that money, of course, and put it away for, you know, a really savvy financial strategy, savings plan, taking down debt, for example, or repayment plans. I'm going to pull a card on the Hierophant because this is an outcome energy, and this can indicate that, you know, you're having a revelation about the way things are done in your industry. And it could be that you're deciding to buck a trend because you have that Tower energy. So for example, and I'm just giving you this as an example, if you are someone who is, I don't know, screenwriter, for example, and you've looked at all the writing agents out there and they all have, you know, no unsolicited mail, for example, you could be like, oh, okay, definitely like patent, copyright, or trademark any work that you do, that you create yourself, always important. But it could be that you find a maverick approach to overcoming that traditional kind of standard sign that people have, because they just don't want to get lots of mail and be swamped. It could be that you find a really unique way of meeting someone who can actually read your screenplay. So, I feel a lot of you could be looking at the way things have always been done in an industry, and you're like, well, it's time for change, okay? Because that tower is like all change, and you could be taking a leap of faith on that. For some of you, this could literally be that you're not going to follow in the footsteps of your family. If all of your family have worked in legal, for example, you may be like, you know what, I'm going to be an artist. For some of you, I feel like you're breaking a family lineage, and I see a lot of you are going to advance and be really successful. I feel a lot of you are going to supersede some of the successes that your family have had, and I feel like you're heading in the right direction. But let me just pull a card on that Hierophant before I move forward there. Thanks so much, Spirit Guides, Great Angels. Can you please guide my beautiful Pisceans? What do they need to know regarding the Hierophant? We've got the Nine of Swords, something that perhaps you're worrying about, okay? And I feel like you may find some knowledge that actually gives you peace of mind there, because that Ten of Cups indicates there's nothing to worry about. So Nine of Swords can also indicate that some rules or regulations that are implemented, maybe new policies, they could become a little bit of a nightmare, and you may need to learn how to navigate them. So it could be, something that affects your industry, and you're like, oh my gosh, not another new way of strategizing the industry, or a new computer software program. Or for some of you, it could be like a test. If you work in a company, it could be that they're testing you to see if you breach a firewall, for example, of security. But I feel like you pass the test. I feel like you can see that the defenses are up, and that you are someone who's very savvy and would not click that unusual link there. The Nine of Swords indicates you have a lot on your mind, and mentally and physically, I feel a lot of you are exhausted, okay? Nine of Swords can also indicate that there is a call to faith, because when you partner the Hierophant up with the Nine of Swords, it becomes a call to have faith and belief in yourself, to back yourself, okay? Because the Hierophant is a strong belief card, and the Nine of Swords can be an energy there of making sure that you're aware that things will get better, okay? Thanks so much, Spirit Guides, and Angels. So we have the Seven of Swords here as well. Now, Seven of Swords can be that some of you are, under the radar, thinking about leaving a position, or for some of you, there's something on your mind, like you mean to return to it. Maybe it's whispering from the sidelines. Maybe you haven't had time to revisit it, but I definitely feel in the next 6 weeks you will revisit it, and you will make progress on it. But also, because we have the Hierophant there, especially if you want to change something, or do something, or apply for something, or do something different, the Seven of Swords with the Nine of Swords, it can be that a diplomatic conversation will open more doors for you, for example. The Seven of Swords, the history of this card indicates that the figure, if you know the traditional Rider-Waite Tarot, the figure does not want conflict. So they are removing the weaponry, and they are caught in the act. They're taking 5 swords, and they are doing it in stealth mode. So they mean to revisit and get those 2 swords that they leave behind. And it basically means that, they don't want to fight. They don't want an argument. They want to resolve something peacefully. So for some of you, if there's been a bit of a conflict in the working environment, a lot of you could be very diplomatic in your approach, and it could actually win the room or resolve the situation. But also the Seven of Swords with the Nine of Swords, it can be that some of you are launching something that's independent, and maybe you've never done it before, and you're a little bit nervous about how it's going to go, and I can see it's going to be very successful. I would say don't sweat the small stuff. I feel as long as you've got your plan, your structure in place, it's all going to work out for you. We got the Wheel of Fortune. It's time. It's going to be lucky. It's going to be, a leap of faith, and it's going to work in your favor because the universe supports you in this moment. I would say that with these cards, especially with that Seven of Swords, copyright, patent, trademark any new ideas, because there's always someone watching who sees what you're up to, and they're like, that's a great idea, and they may try to pinch it for themselves. This could also be a boss that tries to take credit for what you do. So just watch out for that. But I see you advancing because of your knowledge. And the Ten of Cups, you need to feel fulfilled in your industry. And almost know that you're making an impact or a mark. So you're making a difference, and I feel like you definitely are. This is a card that, although it's the last card here, it means you're going from adversity to peace and harmony and abundance. Things that have been a challenge, things that you're trying to really shape with your career, are actually going to bring a lot of prosperity there. And also, things will get easier there for you as well. So I feel by the end of the 6 weeks, you will celebrate yourself, because there is some sort of news coming on in here, something that you do not see coming, because we have that rider there. The rider is the person who brings the news. Okay, so I need to just pull a card, because, your cards, you didn't get any pentacles. That doesn't mean you're not thinking about your finances. It can be, for some of you, that you're a little bit worried economically about how things are going. You may feel that nothing has changed. There's just lots of feelings, almost like the world is a little bit upside down right now, and it's highly pressurized, and it's impacting you and how you kind of like spend in some way. So I just want to pull some cards on your pentacles, your money, as it were, because I do see the 10 of Cups. It is an abundance card. It does mean that, you will have enough, but there is the opportunity for more there as well. Nine of Pentacles, financially independent. The Nine of Pentacles actually means that you'll be able to save a little bit, and of course the rest will go on bills, repayment plans. But that Nine of Pentacles is like, stick to your goals, stick to your intentions, you're completing tasks, responsibilities, even things that you began long ago will bear fruit. So if you're creative, it could be like some sort of rebate, or it could be a royalty from something you did, a residual, for example. But the Nine of Pentacles can also indicate if you've got something automated or it's passive income, it will suddenly yield more money. The Nine of Pentacles, a lot of you are working hard to be financially free from something, but also to be independent financially, so that you can either travel or have more time with your family. A measure of success is rarely money. A measure of success is the time that it can afford you in order to be with your nearest and dearest and just enjoy life, right? Of course, we all need to pay the bills, and I'm sure, people who are very, very wealthy, the most important thing they probably would say is it buys them time to enjoy their life and to do things that perhaps bring them joy. So I would say here with this Nine of Pentacles energy that your future self will thank you for all the hard work that you're doing right now, because it will pay off, and you are creating a solid foundation here. And I feel like you're on your way towards generational wealth, or you have that in mind, and it's something that you will accomplish. This is a card of being comfortable, okay, financially, and I feel like you will build upon that from there. Okay, so I'm just going to go and get some final cards. Now, I would say with increases in finances, I feel some of you could get a commission, or you could get a small incentive, or maybe even a small raise there. I feel any of you who are getting a promotion, I feel the money will come later than the 6 weeks. I got to be honest with you there. I feel a lot of you are maintaining and sustaining, but you are building a life of luxury, or you're building a life of security that you can be really proud of, because you're doing this, you're self-made there, okay? Now, we do have multiple options. If you think about the nature of an octopus, all those tentacles, I feel a lot of you are super busy, lots of compartments to what you do. It will shape up, it will all come together, I just see everything starting to take shape for you is what I'm seeing. And it says here, you have many opportunities to see what works best. Have fun with it. I mean, easier said than done, but this could be a highly explorative time for you, where you're seeing what works, but also what you enjoy, because that 10 of Cups is there, and you need to feel fulfilled in your work. And, you have to have this sense of purpose. And I feel that there may be different compartments, but you're going to be multitasking, and you're going to look back at the next 6 weeks and go, wow, I I did a lot. It's like you're setting yourself up for something, and I feel there's this big, like maybe even a final push or some sort of deadline that you're working towards, and suddenly you're breaking through and there's no more obstacles and it doesn't seem as hard anymore. A lot of you could be training in something or learning something as you work, and it could be that it's really hard, but you're dedicated and you're going to see it through, and it's going to open up new pay grades for you, but also new doors and opportunities. Some of you may even get like a company car with a role, but maybe you're like upgrading your life as well. So it could be that you're saving for a car, or maybe you're saving to move or relocate there. A lot of you could also be trying to work from home. Okay, and if that's you, I definitely see that it is a possibility for you. You're going to make it work there. You may have to really try to guard against distractions in the home space, but I definitely see that you are, going to really enjoy that, and it will bring in a lot of money there for you as well. But it says here, going in style. Little luxuries help you build up to greater things later. Treat yourself. Okay, so, you are working hard, you're at capacity, and it has been a challenge. So know that you are doing a great job. There are greater rewards to come. Whatever it is you're working towards, you're going to be so proud of yourself because you accomplish it. But also, don't forget to treat yourself. And sometimes, it doesn't have to be a physical treat. It can be an acknowledgement that you're doing the best you can with the resources that you got, and that you're showing up for yourself, you're backing yourself, and you're going to see a major push forward and a lot of breakthrough energy coming here. And I feel really have compassion for yourself, because I see a big advancement for you in your future, and you did this final push and you made it happen. So very excited about that for you there, my beautiful Pisceans. So I'll leave that there. I hope something resonates. I'm just going to get a trinket before we close your reading. Oh, we got a rune actually. So let me see what that is. Okay, so we have the static rune. Okay, so a lot of you, as I said, if you've been feeling a bit stuck, it could be due to energy loss. Maybe you've been having a bit of brain fog, or perhaps it can be that it's hard to concentrate recently. I feel it's because you're exhausted, okay, pretty burnt out there. But this rune, it can indicate, especially since you've got the Seven of Swords there, watch who you tell your plans to, okay, because there could be a breach of loyalty there. Okay, so just watch out for that. But what I also see here is, for some of you, you could be refocusing or leaving a position in order to embrace something new, okay? And I would say a lot of you are working in silence or in privacy on something, and that will lead to a greater advancement, because when we tell somebody our plans, then it becomes an expectation, and then it becomes a chore, if you know what I mean. Even if you're excited about something, when you tell someone, I'm going to do this, and they're like, okay, great, that's a fantastic move, I wish you well with it. And then it's in the back of your mind like, oh, I told them I'd be doing this by this date, and now I'm close to this date and I'm nearly there. But you start to really change your perspective of it. But when you're moving in silence and suddenly you're like, I did this, and then you can reveal it, there's much more satisfaction and less pressure on yourself or the situation. So I feel you could be approaching things in a different way, but I see major advancements for you in your near future. So I'll leave it there. Thank you so much, my beautiful Pisceans, and love and light.